So way back in the dawn of time, or 2012, I bought this MagneTrainer peddler, and I used it for a while, but then didn't use it, and then loaned it to a neighbor, and she used it for quite a while. When I loaned it to her, that was probably at least 5 years ago or more, this display wasn't turning on, and I thought, well, maybe it's just, I thought that this end, and maybe it does, I thought maybe this was charging it, or sending power, but it might be just sending signals. I don't know, because I've never taken this part apart. So I said, yeah, just pedal it, it should be fine. Well, I got it back recently, and I figured, all right, maybe I'll try using it. And it's like, oh, maybe I'll look and see what's inside here. So I opened it up and looked on the back, and there was a battery in it, and it was corroded enough that it had somewhat dissolved the spring. You can see it there in the mess. It's a TITEN. It's a AA, super heavy duty. So I guess it's just a regular battery. So that shows that this does not send power, just signals. So that's a plus. But because it was so corroded, I've had batteries go bad, but I've never had it where it corrodes the spring and then the spring breaks when you try and pull the battery out. But let me show you what else it messed up in here. So to take this apart, first there's these two screws. And once you loosen those, theoretically, this back part just lifts off. And then you can see the insides, that these two screws, there's 4 screws that hold it in, the circuit board into the case. These two look normal and are not rusted. Those two are rusted, plus these wires are rusted. And so if I take those 4 screws out, before I do that, this little green thing is an electronic component. I'm not sure if that's a capacitor or what. Let me turn more light on. Let there be light. So now you can see that little piece that's green isn't supposed to be green. It's supposed to be copper colored, almost the same color as the board. But that obviously has also corroded, and I don't know whether that is what caused some of this other corrosion down here, or just the battery and the vapors in this little thing over time caused that corrosion. But yeah, this will come out. That lifts out. So you can see that here's a little wire going across for traces. There's a wire, there's 2 wires, and there's one over there, all of which have rust on. And now you can see there's 2 prongs to whatever kind of capacitor or something that is. I'm not sure. But let me take the 4 screws out and we'll look at the other side. So now that the 4 screws are out, this will lift up out. But there's a wire that comes off this input piece that goes down through the board. And there were, I think it was just a folded over lead because that doesn't actually go down through. But that's also rusted. And then on the other side is the circuit board and components and the display and everything else. And for some of the wires that come through in the solder, you can also see the ends of the wires that stick up through that, were these traces here. You can see the ends of some of those have a little bit of corrosion on. I have not yet tried to take the display off because I didn't want to break it, but there's little components down underneath and such. And I'm going to have to take the display off if I can get it off, because I have to see what this connects to, the little corroded piece. I think it's just 2 little, I think it's 2 of the solder blobs that are down in there, but I'm not sure. But without knowing what that is, even with my almost non-existent soldering skills, I can't replace it because I don't know what to put there. I could replace the battery holder, but I don't know what that is, and if that's just external corrosion or internal corrosion or what. So I may see if I think I have another battery holder, so if I can replace the battery with a different battery, since I know it's just a AA, I have more AA's. So if I can place the battery holder and at least see if it turns on, that will tell me if I have to worry about the corrosion on whatever the heck that is, or if that's just surface stuff and I can ignore it. So let me see if I do in fact have a battery holder, and if so, maybe we'll try replacing that. This will date the last time I thought about playing with electronics and stuff, but I looked in my box of parts and I have brand new, well, until I took it out, brand new battery holders from Radio Shack. Yeah, that's probably from the 90s. Okay, I probably shouldn't have done that. I don't think I damaged things per se, but I was trying to see, I don't have a good way to connect the new things in without doing a lot of mess. So I figured I was like, well, let's just see, because there's this little rubber stuff the LCD is on. I figured, all right, well, let me just tug gently, and it went floop. And as you see, it was just held on by sticky bits on the side, and then there was little contacts that I guess come through the bottom of that. You can kind of see, probably not with this thing, but you can kind of see the shiny bits in the center of the edges. That's what would have hit on the tabs. Boy, that would have been nice if that was just a socket or something versus just stuck there. So there were at times when I moved this, it showed up with a 7, so I think it goes in this orientation. But yeah, sticking that back down is going to be a pain. I don't know how that's supposed to go. If these were supposed to be adhesive, they're not now. Again, it's 15 years old, something like that. I did see the weird little corroded thing comes up through in these 2 pins. So theoretically, that's maybe something that's somewhat easy to desolder and resolder if you know what you're doing, or just are careful. I'm going to leave this here. If anybody has any familiarity with MagneTrainers or circuit boards like this, or battery things, or weird little corroded things that might be a capacitor, might be something else, leave a comment in the video. And hopefully I didn't break this, it just literally pulled up with the adhesive. So I think theoretically I could somehow figure out how to get it to be stuck again. I still don't know if that's bad, and if it is, what it is to replace it. And I definitely still need to get a replacement battery thing and figure out if any of those corrosion is going to be an issue, or who knows what else is corroded circuit-wise. Oh, I guess this board does say in the corner UT-7387A06, and then below it is 100814. I don't know if that'll mean anything to anybody, but... And it looks like on the back, it has a number of things. A U-Cheer, U-Cheer, UT-7387A06 100814 LCD. And the corroded bit says X1. I don't know that that's... And then CEROHS, I don't know what that is. It may just be that this part is scrap and I just pedal. But if anybody has any ideas, leave it in the comments, please. Thanks. Well, I just figured I'll put it back together and try and jam a battery in and see what happens. There's no spring, but I have the little piece that's attached to stuff is sideways, so it's pushing the battery in. The display fits in a little slot down there, so I figured, well, I don't know, I'll just put the display in the way it's supposed to go and screw the board back in, jam the battery in, and it turns on. That was not expected. That's really cool, but that was not expected. So that thing is more robust than I was worried. So I'm guessing that's all surface corrosion and I won't have to worry about it for now. Won't have to do any soldering because the display works. At most, I'll just have to try and fix the battery thing, which I can handle fixing the battery thing probably, because like as I said, I turned the little piece sideways and it touches, so that works. I don't know if it works. Let's plug it in and see. Well, I put the battery cover back on and plugged it in, and now it's... Yeah, the battery thing's not probably right, because now it's full on. So there's still issues, but at least it's not completely dead and destroyed. So it's still not in a working state, but it's not completely dead and destroyed. So maybe I'll just try and do a better battery connection and see, because that's, yeah. Oh, see there, it says 78. Now it's reset. Maybe that was just... Alright, now it's back to 0 and stuff. Plug this back thing in. Did you know that if you hit pause on your recording and you could start talking, none of it actually goes on? Yeah. So I connected it up and it registers. It registers speed. It registers the calorie increase. So maybe I literally just have to fix the battery thing and we'll be all right. That's something I could do. As it is, the battery is jammed in there with a fresh battery, so as long as I don't drop it or move it, it'll stay. So, cool. Well, either way, if someone has ideas on any of the stuff I mentioned on the inside, please let me know. I'm still curious on that, but I'm happy to report that it turns on again. So that's kind of cool.